Okay, so, well, I guess first and foremost, I would say, first, no, these race courses are not about sprinting, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I would say before that, you're not going to make a significant change to your fitness in a week, and so I can give you some tips on kind of how to approach those race courses. With the fitness that you have right now, and how to kind of make that fitness go further on those courses. And so, one of the things that I chatted with someone that I coach who raced at Price was about kind of working on exit speed on those corners. So, this is more of a technical skill. So if you are in a train of riders coming into a series of corners on either of those race courses, instead of following the wheel in front of you kind of super tight, what often happens in a train of riders is that people are braking in the corners or they're late braking the corners. And so if you are following, that forces you are forced to late brake the corner, which means you come out of the corner at a lower speed. And then you're forced to sprint out of the corner to get back on the wheel. And so what I would encourage you to do is, if you're finding yourself late braking, I would allow a small gap to open up to the rider in front of you. Be really smooth in the corner, brake before the corner, not in the corner, and preserve your exit speed. And what'll happen is you will just kind of naturally catch back up to the wheel of the rider in front of you if you're doing this correctly. And so, what you may feel like, well, it's the same, right? You're back on the wheel of the rider in front of you, whether you sprint out of the corner or you carry speed. But what happens is, over the course of an entire race course and all those many corners compounding, all those fewer sprints that you've done to now carry speed in the corner as opposed to sprinting every single corner, you're going to have a lot more left in your legs as you get to the end of the race, when it starts to matter, or even as you get to the middle of the race and other riders who are sprinting out of every corner are now kind of no longer able to do that. And so carrying speed is always going to be optimal for that. So that's what you could potentially do from now until the race at Price next weekend to improve your race there. But to go back to the fitness required for a course like that, it's really not sprinting, even though it feels like you do have to sprint so much because there are so many corners, all these kind of changes in terrain on that course, no like decisive climbs or long descents to recover. Back way up and think about the course as a whole. There is no recovery. You're on the gas the entire time for that course. And so that really takes much more general aerobic conditioning, longer time to exhaustion, higher FTP, higher steady state power. And so all those little, what feel like sprints in there, they're not sprints, they're over-unders. You're riding at a high tempo threshold, whatever high steady state you're riding at, and then you are kind of punching over and above that, and then you get a little bit of recovery kind of through these corners, and then you have to punch over the corners again. It is not sprinting, it's over-unders. And so for general preparation for a course like that, just like it always comes back to FTP threshold, high steady state, and from there you can add the fitness in order to punch over and ride above FTP, then recover slightly below. But that steady state FTP power is really just your entry into that. Sprinting is just not going to get you there for a course like that. So that would be something that you can think about for next year. Or potentially for the Cedar City course, state champs, you have about a month. So there's time to kind of work on more general aerobic conditioning, over-under work before then. But in a week, I would not be focused on changing your fitness in a meaningful way in that time, but instead be focused on kind of preserving exit speed and being really smooth in the corners so that you have a little bit left in the tank later in the race.